Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sata Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guru. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, text number 19. Mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa utpala campaka arṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijātaḥ gandhe arcite tulasikā ābharaṇena tasyāḥ yasmin tapaḥ su-manasaḥ bahu mānayanti mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijātāḥ gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijātāḥ gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijātāḥ gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā
gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā
yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti.
yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti.
Please repeat.
mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa
mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa
punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijātāḥ
punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijātāḥ
gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā
gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā
yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti
yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijātāḥ gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti
mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa
mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa
punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijātāḥ
punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijātāḥ
gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā
gandhe rcite tulasikābharaṇena tasyā
yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti
yasmiṁs tapaḥ sumanaso bahu mānayanti mandāra kunda kuraba utpala campaka arṇa flower nāgakeśara bakula ambuja lily pārijāta gandhe fragrance arcite being worshipped tulasikā tulasī ābharaṇena with a garland tasyāḥ of her yasmin in which Vaikuṇṭha tapaḥ austerity su-manasaḥ good-minded Vaikuṇṭha-minded bahu very much mānayanti glorify. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although flowering plants like the mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa, punnāga-nāga-bakulāmbuja-pārijātāḥ, bakula, lily, and pārijāta are full of transcendental fragrance, they are still conscious of the austerities performed by tulasī. For tulasī is given special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself with tulasī leaves. Purport. The importance of tulasī leaves are very clearly mentioned here. Tulasī plants and their leaves are very important in devotional service. Devotees are recommended to water the tulsi tree every day and collect the leaves to worship the Lord. One time, an atheistic Swami remarked, "What is the use of watering the tulasi plant? It is better to water eggplant. By watering the eggplant, one can get some fruits. But what is the use of watering the tulasī? These foolish creatures, unacquainted with devotional service, sometimes play havoc with the education of people in general. The most important thing about the spiritual world is that there is no envy among the devotees there. This is true even among the flowers, which are all conscious of the greatness of tulasī. In the Vaikuṇṭha world, entered by the four Kumaras, even the birds and flowers are conscious of the service to the Lord. Om Jnana Timirāṇ Tasya Gnāna Shalakaya Chakshu Unmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swam Kadabikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shetaf Paragamam Shri Gurum Vaishnam Vishta Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Vagana Kamvitam Tam Shri Devam Sarvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Bhadam Sahagana Vita Shri Visakam Vitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandhu Jagapati Kubisha Kubika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Paramani Hari Priya Vasha Kalpati Visha Kapasana Vecha Patita Anam Pavani Bhyo Vaishnavi Bhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vaita Gadadhara Shiva Sai Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnu Krishna Sai Namo Om Vishnu Krishna Sai Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Bhugam Karoti Vachalam Puge Ladhayate Girim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Giritaranam. Although flowering plants like the mandāra-kunda-kurabotpala-campakārṇa, utpala, campaka, arṇa, punnāga-nāga-keśara, bakula, lily, and pārijāta are full of transcendental fragrance, they are still conscious of the austerities performed by tulasī. For tulasī is given special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself with tulasī leaves. So, while I was reading this translation, at first I didn't know what all these names. These are all different names for the flowers in the spiritual world. I mean, it's also like we also actually all know all these. We've seen all these flowers actually, so I just had to look them up. But all these flowers are actually very beautiful, and they're full of fragrance, as it said. All these flowers are full of transcendental fragrance. So they're very beautiful, compared to these flowers that we buy or we get from the store, But they are fully conscious of tulasī, as it is said here, that they are still conscious of the austerities performed by tulasī. And they completely understand that tulasī, she's actually the queen of all plants, because she's favored by the Supreme Lord himself, Krishna. They understand that it says there that in the Vaikuṇṭha world, entered by the four Kumaras, even the birds and flowers are conscious of the service to the Lord. So all these, like Ali Krishna Prabhu was giving the class yesterday, he was describing like that yesterday, the humming of the bee is so pleasing that all the birds are stunned and they just stop just to listen to the glorification of the Supreme Lord. And even the flowers, they're also conscious. They understand that service of the Supreme Lord is the top priority. And so they understand that the Supreme Lord is very much loves the tulasī plant, is very dear to him. And so she's given a special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself, it says in the poem, who garlands himself with tulasī leaves. So we can see that, she's actually very, very important, especially in devotional service. I think we all have practical experience and realization from this. I remember one time, me and Homosa Brew were in Austin, yeah, and we were just chanting in this moded out room where it was not so clean, and then we found out, okay, they actually have tulasī here at the temple, or it was like a preaching center, and so we instead of chanting inside of there, we went to go chant in front of her outside, and immediately I can tell that my chanting felt it was way better than before, because most Guru said that if you just chant in front of tulasī, you can immediately see the difference, and it really enhances your japa. So like this, and she also she grants. Literally we chant. Well, at least not right now, but we used to chant every day. We used to chant every day that she's able to grant us the ability of performing devotional service, and she's the one. She allows someone to be a resident of Vrindavan, like that. So she's the one who actually she's actually a crucial key to devotional service because she's, like I said in the purport here, and she's special preference by the Lord. She's especially favored by the Lord. So she's very essential for our lives in our devotional service. Right now, of course, we're in a weird circumstance. We're not here, but at the same time we're here. So she's currently in New Taliban. But, nonetheless, we're still getting her mercy because we're following in Prabhupada's footsteps. And, she's very important that, we worship her. We even our japamala is made from her, from the wood of her. And also we wear the kanti mala, our dog tag, like this. So, we understand that she's actually very, very crucial to our lives in our devotional service. And I'll read some about that later. There's some really amazing things spoken about in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 3, text number 104. And this is basically when Advaita Acharya, he wants to call down Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or he's calling out to Krishna for him to come in this age. So he says here, Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate toward his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers him merely a tulasī leaf and a palm full of water. And goes on to say, Advaita Acharya considered the meaning of the verse in this way. Not finding any way to repay the debt he owes to one who offers him a tulasī leaf and water. Lord Krishna thinks, there is no wealth in my possession that is equal to a tulasī leaf and water. Thus, the Lord liquidates the debt by offering himself to the devotee. Considering in this way, the Acharya began worshipping the Lord. Purport. Though devotional service, one can easily please Lord Krishna with a leaf of the tulasī plant and a little water. As the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 9:26, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or some water, bhaktam pushpam palam toyam, when offered with devotion, very much pleases him. He universally accepts the services of his devotees. Even the poorest of devotees in any part of the world can secure a small flower, fruit, or leaf, and a little water. And if these offerings are especially tulsi leaves and ganges water are offered to Krishna with devotion, he is very satisfied. It is said that Krishna is so pleased by such devotional service that he offers himself to his devotee in exchange for it. Srila Advaita Acharya knew this fact, and therefore he decided to call for the personality of Godhead, Krishna, to descend by worshipping the Lord with tulasī leaves and the water of the Ganges. Thinking of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, he constantly offered tulsi buds in water from the Ganges. So we can understand here, Advaita Acharya himself was offering only tulsi and water, water from the Ganges every day, constantly. And just by this simple, it may seem very simple, but of course he did it with complete love for the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord had, it says right there that he offers himself. He's like, so much. You're giving me so much. He feels like the Supreme Lord feels like that you're giving him so much. Because you're doing it out of love and devotion, no less than commotion. So like that, he's very inclined towards his devotee who offers him in this pure love, and like this he actually feels like he's indebted to his devotee. So instead he just gives himself to his devotee because by Advaita Acharya's example, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself descended to this material world to free all the conditioned souls just by offering tulasī and some water. That's like really amazing. Of course, some prayers and out of love, and of course, Advaita Acharya is not an ordinary person. He is actually God himself. So, but still, just by offering some tulasi and water, you can, even Prabhupada makes that point that even a poor person can offer some leaves, some flowers, some water, like that. So, and in the purport, even these poor people, Like that, even we understand that, Lord Chaitanya says that, no, I am not a brahmana, I'm not a satriya, I'm not a vaishya, I'm not a sudra, I'm not a sannyasi, brahmachari, grahastha, or vanaprastha, like this. We understand like that. And so it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're poor, whether you're rich, like this. Anybody can serve the Supreme Lord in any capacity, according to the acharyas and according to the Vedas. But a lot of these foolish people deride tulasī as just some medicinal plant or just some other plant that, oh yeah, it just looks nice, I guess. Atheistic, like Prabhupada was making here in the poor. Some Swami said that, what is the use of watering tulasī? Just water an eggplant, Just water an eggplant. But the thing is, eggplant is not even that good anyway. That's a side point. But but anyway, but watering the eggplant, he says, but watering the eggplant, you can get some fruits. But what is the use of watering the tulasī? But just see, these atheistic people, they're not able to understand the glories of tulasī. What to speak of Krishna, So like if they can't even understand the pure devotee of the Lord, what to speak of Krishna himself, And, they believe that, like I just said, is ordinary plant, that she's just meaningless, just some other plant, like they think it's like, okay, like some basil plant or just some other bush or something like this, whatever, some tree. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita himself that ashradhadhana purusha dharmas yasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartanta mritu samsara vartmini. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me. O conqueror of enemies, therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. Then he goes on later to say, moghasha mogha karma no mogha jnana vichetasaha rakshasim asun chaiva prakriti mohinam shritaha. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their food activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. So, sorry, 1 second. I just pull up the... So yeah, though there are many devotees who assume themselves to be in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, but at heart do not accept the Supreme Personality of Krishna as the absolute truth. For them, the fruit of devotional service, going back to Godhead, will never be tasted. Similarly, those who are engaged in fruit of pious activities and who are ultimately hoping to be liberated from this material entanglement will never be successful either, because they deride the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna. In other words, persons who mock Krishna are to be understood to be demoniac or atheistic. As described in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, such demoniac miscreants never surrender to Krishna. Therefore, their mental speculations to arrive at the absolute truth bring them to the false conclusion that the ordinary living entity and Krishna are one and the same. With such false conviction, they think that the body of any human being is now simply covered by material nature, and that as soon as one is liberated from this material body, there is no difference between God and himself. This attempt to become one with Krishna will be baffled because of delusion. Such atheistic and demoniac cultivation of spiritual knowledge is always futile. This is the indication of this verse. For such persons, cultivation of the knowledge in the Vedic literatures like the Vedanta Sutra and the Upanishads is always baffled. So just see, Prabhupada is saying in that purport, that, and it goes along with this purport as well, that these swamis, these yogis, whatever, they read these books, like, okay, and to some extent, because they know slokas and whatever, like this, like that. They make it seem themselves like they're very spiritually advanced. But Krishna says himself that they never surrender, they can never understand him, never surrender unto him, because they have atheistic and demoniac views. They're adverse to Krishna. They want to be Krishna. They're saying that Krishna, the Jiva and the Krishna are the same. We are one and the same. But and it's actually really amazing because it's according to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is in the Ali Leela, chapter 10, text number 1, the first verse text. This goes along. This actually goes along with tulasī and the atheistic people. Let me repeatedly offer my respectful obeisances unto the bee-like devotees, who always taste the honey of the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even if even a doggish non-devotee somehow takes shelter of such devotees, he enjoys the aroma of the lotus flower. Purport. The example of a dog is very significant in this connection. A dog naturally does not become a devotee at any time, but still it is sometimes found that a dog of a devotee gradually becomes a devotee also. We have actually seen that a dog has no respect even for the tulasī plant. Indeed, a dog is especially inclined to pass urine on the tulasī plant. You know? So therefore the dog is the number one non-devotee. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement is so strong that even a dog-like non-devotee can gradually become a devotee by the association of a devotee of Lord Chaitanya. So just we can just see here that even these dog-like swamis are not favorable towards Krishna consciousness, and they deride the tulsi plant, and they rather water eggplant instead, you know. So, but we understand that they're just these people are just they're just fools, you know. And so yeah, and then so yeah, they're just fools. But we can even see that, like it was saying there, that just by the association of Lord Chaitanya's devotees, they can come gradually. They can come gradually to the lotus feet of Krishna and become purified. Because it said there that, you know, there's sometimes we see that there's dogs of devotees who become devotees. I think it said like that. But yeah, gradually dog-like people eventually become devotees, and that's like pretty much all around us today. You know, pretty much everyone in this modern society is dog-like, dogs, hogs, and asses. But gradually, by associating with devotees and worshiping tulasī and chanting Hare Krishna and taking prasadam, gradually you can become a devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we have, you know, we've seen this firsthand. And not only that, we also have you know, example in the Bhagavatam, in the 3rd canto, 15th chapter, verse 43 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a statement by the 4 saintly persons known as Chatusana, headed by Sanat Kumar. They went to visit the Lord of Vaikuṇṭha in the spiritual sky, and when they bowed down before the Lord, the aroma of the tulsi mixed with saffron entered their nostrils and immediately attracted their minds. Although these 4 saintly persons were always absorbed in the thought of impersonal Brahman, so they were performing the pastime, they were impersonalists before, from association with the Lord, and from smelling the tulsi leaves, the hairs on their bodies immediately stood up. This shows that even a person who is situated in Brahman realization, if he is put into association with devotees in pure devotional service, will immediately become attracted to the personal feature of the Lord. So we can even see, you know, the 4 Kumaras, it talks about it later on in this chapter. But we can see even the 4 Kumaras themselves, they were attracted just by the scent of the tulsi leaves coming from the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And when they smelled these tulsi leaves, and when they first smelled them, their mindset completely changed. Like, oh, well, you know, actually the Lord has beautiful features. He has a beautiful smell. You know, he has a beautiful place. He understood that, okay, actually, this is actually a very personal This actually very. Me and Rishi Kumar Prabhu, we were at John's house. Yeah, he has tulsi, exactly. He has tulsi there. But like I was saying before, there's many people who, you know, have the tulsi plants and they just deride it as some medicinal plant, you know, nice to like drink tea or, you know, eat from or whatever. But they don't, you know, so like that. I remember one time I was with Ami Amapu actually, and we were at the this mushroom festival here in Georgia, and you know it was pretty fired up. We did shoot some Bhagatams, but anyway, there was also a vendor there, and she was selling all types of herbs and plants, and she so happened to have tulsi, and I went over there and I was shocked. I was like, whoa, this is Tulsi Devi is here, and I was like, whoa, and like she was like, what, really? She's like, wow, I'm so surprised that you're shocked. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, no, Tulsi, I was explaining to her that actually Tulsi, she's actually not an ordinary plant. She's a pure devotee of the Lord, and that, you know, we actually worship her. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, yeah, she actually makes a really good herbal tea or something like that. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, she was like, would you like some? I was like, no, actually, we don't do that. You know, I was trying to explain to her that we don't just use tulsi for our, like, you know, just for our own material benefit, or like we don't just deride her as some other plant. We actually like see her as like worshipable. She's very worshipable, and she just couldn't understand it, obviously. But she was actually a little shocked. But she actually got, because I told her that, she actually got a little bit, because I showed her, she was looking at my japamala. She was like, wow, what is this made out of? I was like, yeah, actually this is made out of tulsi. And she was like, wow, really? She was like completely shocked. So actually after I showed her my japamala and I told her about the glories of tulsi, she actually had way more respect for tulsi. I don't know if she's still, she's probably still using it. I don't know. I'm not sure. But, she definitely had some, realize like some like whoa, like okay, like this is like not some joke, or like this is like there's people from India who actually like worship tulsi in like a very respectful way. And I was also trying to make that point across. With John, I was giving a class there. We were giving class, Srimad Bhagavatam class there every day, and we were mainly, when we were there, we were trying to go straight to the point that, like, because especially like all these pseudo spiritual people, they actually like all these herbs and all these Ayurvedic and like all these different things like that, and pseudo spiritual, very like spiritual like that. So John is like in the same bahu. But we were there and we were just preaching very strongly, straightforwardly that, hey, God is not one. We are not one. We are quality-wise, we are coming from Him. We are like that. But quantity, no, we're completely different, one and different like that. And he very much appreciated what we had to say, and gradually, like that, he's understanding the philosophy slowly and surely. But like that, by associating with devotees like Rishi Kumar Prabhu, he's able to understand the glories of tulsi and the glories of Krishna. So, and actually, in this connection, and like I said, I wanted to read from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, because there's actually very amazing things in here. So there's actually a whole chapter saying, serving trees such as the tulasi. In the Skanda Purana, there is a statement praising the tulasi tree as follows. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the tulasi tree, which can immediately vanquish volumes of sinful activities. So we even pray for that every day, how's it go? What? Yani Gani Chapapani Rama, I'm sorry, it's been a while. Rama, what is it? Hadyadi, Tani Tani, Pranashanti, Parakshane Pare Pare. So like anyway, so it's been a while, but hey, that's my excuse. We haven't sing in a long time. So anyway, but yeah, we sing every day that even just by worshiping tulsi, just by circumambulating her every day, all your sinful reactions are, free you from all your sinful reactions. Even by killing a brahmana, even if you kill a brahmana, your sinful reactions go away. So this is how amazing tulsi is. She completely rids you from all your sinful activities. Simply by seeing or touching this tree, one can become relieved from all distresses and diseases. Simply by offering obeisances to and pouring water on the tulsi tree, one can become free from the fear of being sent to the court of Yamaraj, the king of death who punishes the sinful. So just by simply pouring some little water on tulsi, we can be freed from the court of Yamaraj. That's pretty amazing. If someone sows a tulsi tree somehow, certainly he becomes devoted to the Lord Krishna. So even just by planting tulsi, it says here that he certainly becomes a devotee of Lord Krishna. And when the tulsi leaves are offered in devotion at the lotus feet of Krishna, there is the full development of love of Godhead. In India, all Hindus, even those not belonging to the Vaishnava group, take special care of the tulsi tree. Even great cities where it is very difficult to keep a tulsi tree, people are to be found very carefully keeping this plant. They water it and offer obeisance to it, because worship of the tulasi tree is very important in devotional service. So even people who are not even Vaishnavas understand that to worship the tulasi is very important, very crucial to devotional service, actually. And it goes on to say, in the Skanda Purana, there's another statement about tulasi. as follows. Tulasī is auspicious in all respects, simply by seeing, simply by touching, simply by remembering, simply by praying to, simply by bowing down before, simply by hearing about, or simply by sowing this tree, there is always auspiciousness. Anyone who comes in touch with the Tulasī tree in the above-mentioned ways lives eternally in the Vaikuṇṭha world. So simply, just by doing all these simple processes of glorifying Tulasī, you can always have Vaikuṇṭha consciousness. As it says here, what is it? Su-manasaḥ, good-minded, but also Vaikuṇṭha-minded. There's actually a class by His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj, and it's called, that's the one that Ali quoted. But I was saying another one. There's one he gave in Houston at Gopal's house, Goloka Darshan, and it's very fired up. If you haven't heard that, I recommend to listen to it. But you were there for that, right? Yeah. It's called Goloka Darshan.
Yeah, it was in 2018.
Yeah. It was really fired up. And he talks in there like... Yeah. He speaks in that class that how to give Vaikuṇṭha consciousness like that. And it was really fired up. It's a really good class. And but yeah, I mean, just by associating with Tulasī, just by bowing down to Tulasī, just by even remembering Tulasī, you're able to have Vaikuṇṭha-minded. You can have, instead of having a dog-minded like this Swami, you can have a Vaikuṇṭha mind. Be favored by Krishna, as Charan was saying. We're not bad men, we are not good men, we are Krishna men.
Okay. Okay.
So and it goes on to say, is even more nectar in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. There's a chapter called Krishna's favorite plant, and Tulasī. Lord Krishna is very fond of Tulasī leaves and buds. Because Tulasī buds are usually offered up to the lotus feet of Krishna. A devotee once prayed to this was like pretty far out, I didn't know this. A devotee once prayed to the Tulasī beads to give him some information about the lotus feet of the Lord. The devotee prayed to the to the Tulasī buds to give him some information about...
Buds or beads?
It says buds.
Buds, okay. When you said beads, are like two.
No, because we understand that, the Tulasī buds, I guess, those are small. The flower, yeah. Okay, yeah. They're always at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. So, I guess he wanted to get some information about Lord Vishnu's feet, because, they're always residing on Lord Vishnu's feet. So, I mean, yeah. The devotee expected that the Tulasī buds would know something about the glories of Lord Sri Krishna's lotus feet. So that was pretty amazing. That was pretty far. So the devotees can pray to the Tulasī buds to get some information about Krishna's feet. And, so we have to follow in the footsteps of the acharyas and these exalted devotees, or else if not, we can not follow the footsteps of this Swami, this dog-like Swami, And even the four Kumaras, they very much, that's how they start, actually, technically, that's how they started their devotional service, right? They smelled the Tulasī leaves from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. So, like I was saying earlier, the Tulasī Devi, she's very important. You start your devotional service, and all throughout your devotional service, towards the end of your devotional service, everywhere, the whole, always, constantly. There was, like Advaita Acharya, he constantly, always offering Tulasī to Lord Krishna in this loving way. And I wanted to read from the Brahmacharya Krishna consciousness, because actually, Tulasī Devi herself has some words to speak.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know much.
And this is in correlation with the purport also, because the four Kumars, they're Naishtika Brahmacharis. So, hey, everything is coming together, So, like this, we understand that, and the best way to serve Tulasī all the time is if you're a Brahmachari, because you're always, if you really think about it, okay, the Grihastas, of course the Grihastas always serve Tulasī as well, because, they can, but, not as, not as, what's the word? Yeah, vigorously. I was going to say vigorously. No. I mean, here at Krishna Life, we're pretty fired up for Tulsi Puja. We're pretty vicious. We're viciously running in circles, running like it's a highway. The most fired up part is Tulsi Puja. If you're not there for Tulsi Puja, then you should come. But I'm looking at the camera. But anyway, yeah. But like I was saying, vigorously, the brahmacharis are able to worship Tulsi every day. While the grastas, sometimes they are not able to come to the temple every day. Sometimes they have that problem, this problem, that problem, this problem. They're always engaged in some other problem. So, but the brahmacharis, where they live in the temple, they stay in the temple. So we could at least, okay, this is time, place, and circumstance. At least what we used to. But anyway, every day you get to see Tulsi, you get to worship Tulsi, you get to run around Tulsi, you get to water Tulsi, you get to remember Tulsi, you get to chant in front of Tulsi. Everything is revolves around Tulsi Devi. We offer everything to Krishna with Tulsi. So like that, the four Kumars, the brahmacharis, and they understand the glories of Tulsi. So okay, now speaking from this, Tulsi Devi on degraded men and women. So this is Tulsi Devi herself speaking, spoken to Shankachuda, recorded in Brahma Vaikuṇṭha Purana. Tulsi Devi's strong assertions expose the exploitive mentality of men and women who desire to join each other. So here we go. Be ready. Who are you? And why are you talking to me? If a noble man sees a virtuous woman alone, he doesn't talk to her. So go away. The Shastras say that only a degraded man desires a woman. At first, a woman is sweet to a man, but later proves fatal. Through her mouth rains honey, but her heart is like a jar of poison. She uses sweet words, but her heart is like a sharp razor. To achieve her own selfish ends, she is submissive to her husband. Otherwise, she is unsubmissive. While her face looks cheerful, her heart is dirty. A wise man never trusts a base woman. She has no friend or enemy, for all she wants are new lovers. When a woman sees a well-dressed man, she inwardly desires him, but outwardly she appears chaste and modest. Being naturally passionate, she attracts a man's mind. A woman likes a good lover more than sweet foods or refreshing drinks, and even more than her own son. But if that lover becomes impotent or aged, she regards him as an enemy. Quarrels and anger ensue. Then she devours him as a snake eats a rat. She is rashness personified and a mind of vices. A woman is hypocritical, obstinate, and unfaithful. Even Lord Brahma and other demigods are deluded by her. She is a hindrance on the path of austerity, an obstacle to liberation, an impediment to developing faith in Lord Hari, a refuge of all delusional, and a living chain that binds man to this world. She is like a bucket of stool and is as false as dreams. She appears to be very beautiful, but she is a bucket of blood, urine, and stool. When God created her, he arranged that she should become the spirit of delusion, to delude and poison to those who desire liberation. Thus, on no account should a woman be desired, and by all means should be avoided. A man who is conquered by a woman is very impure and condemned by people in general. The forefathers and demigods regard men who are conquered by women as low and contemptible. Even their fathers and mothers mentally despise them. The Vedas say that when a child is born or a relative dies, the Brahmanas are purified in 10 days, the Kshatriyas in 12 days, the Vaishyas in 15 days, and the Sudras and other lower classes in 21 days. But a man conquered by a woman always remains impure. Only when the body is burned to ashes does he become purified. Neither the ancestors nor the demigods accept from him cakes, flowers, or any other offerings. Men whose hearts are totally conquered by women acquire no fruits from their knowledge, austerities, japa, fire sacrifices, worship, learning, or fame. So, Tulsi Devi herself is saying this, not me. So, and this is in regard to the glories of Tulsi Devi. So, her herself knows that the best way to serve the Supreme Lord is to be a brahmachari. Like this we can understand. Because it's very practical. Look at the four Kumars. They were Naishika brahmacharis their entire life. As soon as they appeared from Lord Brahma, Lord Brahma asked them, you should get married. you should create progeny. But they were just like, I think I'm good. I think I'm good on that.
Narada Muni preached to them.
Oh, okay. Narada Muni
The older
preached.
brother was a brahmachari.
Yeah. Narada Muni is also Naishiga brahmachari, and so older brother, and they got that enthusiasm, utsahan nishcha dharya. They got that enthusiasm from Narada Muni, and that is in correlation with this actually, because like I was saying earlier, is to not be a dog-like minded devotee or a dog-like person, you have to have the association of devotees who are surrendered to Krishna. So like that, gradually, you're able to understand the glories of Krishna, understand the glories of Tulasi. So like that, like the four Kumaras, they got that special mercy from Narada Muni, who preached to them. And when Lord Brahma asked them to procreate, they were like, I'm okay on that, like I'm completely fine. We understand that this is a super entangling, and that, it was said there that it's unbeneficial to spiritual life. A hindrance is an impediment to all liberation for the yogis, like that, I think Tulsi Devi said. And I remember recently, I just heard something pretty, I mean, I always heard this, of course, but I heard it directly from the class, like that Yudhishthira Maharaj, when Kunti Devi, she, kept that secret from Yudhishthira Maharaj, that yes, Karna's your brother. She kept that the entire time until they were about to offer, like until after the war, and offer oblations. It's like, I think that's also said in the I don't know. Okay, but yeah, I heard it in the class like that. And then like, but after he heard that, he was very like distressed. Like, he's like, everything was causing me distress, but now this has caused me the most distress. And he said, because of this, from now on, no woman is able to keep any secret. So, no woman is able to keep any secret like this, and and we can see it practically today. That but yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to understand the glories of Krishna and the glories of Tulsi Devi if we're not fixated on the goal. And it's very easy to be dissuaded from devotional service, like it says. Through her mouth rains honey, but her heart is like a jar of. She uses sweet words, but her heart is sharp like a razor. And when I read that, I was thinking, like, similarly, like in the Bhagavatam is described, like life is like a razor's edge. Her heart is like a razor. So if you're associating with a woman, her heart is like a razor. So it's actually like you have a very high chance of getting cut. It's like, whoa. It's like you got to be very careful, especially if you're associating with women like that. And her face looks very cheerful, but her heart is dirty. So, and it's really like amazing, because Tulsi Devi herself is saying this. So we can definitely take her words to account, because she's a pure devotee, and she's she's eternally situated in the spiritual world in the female form. So she knows the nature of a woman materially, like that. And she has no friend or enemy, for all she wants is new lovers. So, and when a woman sees a well-dressed man, she inwardly desires him, but outwardly she appears chaste and modest. So like the Bhagavatam, I was showing that to John, and because he had a lot of questions, and one of the things I showed him, and the main Rishi showed him, was in the first canto, second verse, that this knowledge helps you free you from delusion and give you the true reality, like that. It gives you free from delusion, and illusion gives you the true reality, like that. So similarly, if you're associating with women, though, it causes impediment to devotional service. Outwardly she appears very cheerful, but inwardly she's desiring something else. So it's very dangerous on the path of on spiritual progress. So like this, the best thing to do is to stay brahmachari, like following the footsteps of the four Kumaras, and to also always worship and beg for the mercy of Tulsi, because without her mercy, we are not able to chant japa properly. We aren't able to distribute books. We aren't able to worship the Supreme Lord. We aren't able to stay in the association of devotees. Practically, if you make an offense to Tulsi, or if you're not even, if you don't carefully worship her like this, then it can really cause big havoc in your devotional life. So, because like once again, back to the verse that there for Tulsi is given special preference by the Lord. So like this, we understand that she's not some ordinary plant. So that's all I really had. Any questions or comments or corrections?
So, this point, of course, should be brahmachari, but we can see that this sahadharmini also. A woman is also, usually for a grihastha, supposed to be sahadharmini, someone who's helping him with dharma.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's like spiritual life is like a razor's edge, and we associate with razors. We do shave our faces often. I guess we're going to do a mahashave up today, being Dwadashi. But, it is true. We must be very careful. And all these points Tulsi Maharani is saying is obviously absolutely true. And we say that, yes, brahmachari life is the best way of practicing devotional service. And brahmachari life, and also in the grihastha ashram, that's the whole perspective. Otherwise, this would not hold true. The statement would not hold true for the Mahajans,
Yeah.
Like, depends on how you see it. 7 out of 12 of them are grihasthas, or, hear me out, 8 out of 15 of them are brahmacharis, right? So, because it says the Mahajans are considered to be 12 because they include the 4 Kumaras in one name. So how you look at it, you could say 7 grihasthas and 5 brahmacharis, or 8 grihasthas and 8 brahmacharis and 7 grihasthas, right? But either way, you can see 7 out of the, I guess, commonly quoted 12 Mahajans are grihasthas. So we understand that they understand that principle of not being controlled by women. They understand the nature of women, and they know how to, in how you were saying, use the razor properly. So that's obviously there, but it's always better to avoid that entanglement, no doubt. And I think everyone in this room knows my inclinations. But it's always better. It's always better to avoid it. But those who may want to go in that direction would have to do it in a sober-minded way, understanding these points, because these points are true. Shastra is not wrong. Tulsi Maharani is not wrong. What she's saying is true.
Yeah.
And we should understand it. But we have faith in the process of devotional service, and that when a woman is following a man who's actually strictly fixed in the principles of Krishna consciousness, she can be purified of those tendencies. And the whole process of devotional service purifies one of those tendencies. But the danger is always there. Right? It's like you can't trust the mind. But if you engage the mind in devotional service long enough, then at a certain point of time, mind will become your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So same thing. That danger is always there. That danger is always there. And it's better to avoid it if you can avoid it. But if you can't avoid it, one must be very cautious and very careful while entering into such a situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very important point. So, someone may hear it and be like, oh, just see these brahmacharis. Let's see how many of them last. So many people say so many things. Yeah. And they've said it to us many times. But it was crazy. It was this morning, very, very extremely sad point. I woke up, and for some reason, I remembered the first day I put on saffron with Natabara Gauranga Prabhu. And then we went to ISKCON, the NYC Ratha Yatra. And then they were like, wow, you're wearing saffron. I said, yeah, I want to wear it for life. And he said, let's see. So many people have said that before. One devotee told me that, for some reason I remember that. But, this is a very, very important point to know.
Yeah.
That, yes, all this is absolutely true, but they can be purified.
Yeah.
They can be purified by, by following the spiritual master, by following the spiritual master's orders of, surrendering to a man who's Krishna conscious. A wife should be a servant of the husband, Prabhupada said, and the husband should be 100 times servant of Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be ideal, especially if we're moving into this, into the varnashram phase of Krishna life, which is going to be primarily grihasthas, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be brahmacharis, but because we're going to be bringing families into Krishna consciousness, right? We're not going to ask them to divorce and become sannyasis, right? So so we're going. So this we should have a very healthy understanding of this statement, of these statements of Tulsi Maharani. So with that being said, I'd like to share some extreme nectar about Tulsi Maharani.
Okay.
Okay, this is really extreme nectar. Okay, this is coming from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Okay, so Srila Vishwanath, this is in the 10th canto, 2nd chapter. I'll pull out the exact verse number, but now listen to this. Please pay attention. Okay, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also points out that tulasī, although exalted in many ways, is not normally considered an especially fragrant plant. Right? Right? She's not considered a fragrant plant.
Yeah.
However, why is she considered fragrant? However, early in the morning, tulasī emits a transcendental fragrance that ordinary people cannot perceive, but that transcendental personalities fully appreciate.
Whoa.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
Early in the morning,
early.
hey, so you see Mangalarti, huh? Early in the morning, tulasī emits a transcendental fragrance that ordinary people cannot perceive, but that a transcendental personalities fully appreciate. So that's the aroma that the Kumaras smell.
Yeah.
It's not some like hey, you're like oh like really you smell what smell is not that it's a completely transcendental aroma that Tulsi Maharani has to give you entrance into. So it's very, very important. And now I want to give you my pramana for us chanting in front of Tulsi Maharani. It's not like you ever doubted me, but I wanted to pull this very ecstatic verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Leela, chapter 3, text number 100. Okay, Nirjana Vane Kutira Kari Tulasī Sevana, Rati Dine Tina Laksha Nama Sankirtana. Haridas Thakur constructed a cottage in a solitary forest. There he planted a tulasī plant, and in front of the tulasī, he would chant the holy name of the Lord 300,000 times daily. He chanted throughout the entire day and night. Okay, and now Srila Prabhupada in this purport he tells us where that spot is, and I really hope you Prabhus could visit that spot. It'll be very ecstatic. One thing is you Prabhus are going to be going to Jagannath Puri.
Yeah.
And when you go to Jagannath Puri, oh Krishna, how am I forgetting the name? Siddhabaku. So you'll be going to Siddhabaku. That's the place.
Did you go?
That under that tree, Srila Haridas Thakur chanted 300,000 names every day in front of Tulsi Maharani, and Lord Chaitanya would come to see him. So that's just a prelude, just for your for your ecstatic visit to India. I guess 3 out of the 7 of us here are going to be gone. So now listen to this. This is so amazing, okay? Prabhupada says, okay. We can follow Haridas Thakur's example, however, by chanting 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the beads every day and offering respect to the Tulasī plant. This is not at all difficult for anyone, and the process of now listen to this. And the process of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with a vow before the Tulasī plant has such great potency that simply by doing this, one can become spiritually strong. Therefore, we request the members of the Hare Krishna movement to follow Haridas Thakur's example rigidly. Chanting 16 rounds does not take much time, nor is offering respect to the Tulasī plant difficult. The process has immense spiritual potency. One should not miss this opportunity. That's ecstatic. Antya 300.
So you have to be there. You have to be there for Mangalarti.
I mean, not just that. I mean, just worshipping Tulasī.
Yeah.
I mean, in my own, maybe if your mom did this or not, but in my home, although they're like really Haribol, like some of you might know, and it's like Maha Hindu Bhav.
Yeah.
So one of the things my mom would do is like she would get Tulasī, and every day she would decorate her pot like very nicely with all these colors and do arti and offer water to her and all that, just without even thinking about it. So when Prabhupada was saying in Hindu society, people worship, you read a purport.
Yeah.
Not just Vaishnavas, but just Hindus in general.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about that, right? Yeah, it's common.
In villages, I don't know.
Yeah.
In Yeah, worshipping Tulasi.
Yeah, it is worship Tulasi. You know, it's such a simple thing.
Wow.
It's such a simple thing. And, you know, there's this section, and now bringing it to the marathon, talking about book distribution. We were reading this section in Mood and Mission of Srila Prabhupada called Divine Serendipity, where Srila Prabhupada, Krishna always made arrangements but Srila Prabhupada was always at the right time at the right place.
Yeah.
You know? So in the spiritual world, Tulasi Maharani is the one who's assisting Yoga Maya,
Yeah.
right? To make arrangements for Krishna's ecstatic pastimes.
Yeah.
So every day, most of the time we ended up in Amala Gaur Prabhu's house, although we didn't plan on it. We have blessed Virginia. But, you know, but every day I was chanting my japa. Every day I was chanting, trying to chant all my 16 rounds, at least 12 or 11 or whatever, in front of Tulsi Mani. I was praying, my dear Tulsi Mani, how you make arrangements for Krishna in the spiritual world, could you also make arrangements for Krishna's pastimes as Lord Chaitanya for people to come and get the fruit of love of God in the form of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? And it totally worked.
Yeah.
It totally worked. She really was making arrangements. I could see her hand. It was amazing. Just incredibly amazing. You know. So one should not miss this opportunity of worshipping Tulsi Mani. So we can fervently pray to her that she please comes back to Krishna life as soon as possible.
Yeah. Seriously.
I was so happy worshipping Tulsi Mani.
It's like the best part.
It's the best part. I was so happy worshipping Tulsi Mani. Anyway, sorry I was a mic hog.
There's I have something to say because you were making that really important point about like understand these points, but also like okay, like if you're a grihasta, we should also understand this, but at the same time be cautious, but at the same time to become purified. Because I was actually listening to a lecture, and there's a lecture called "The Glories of Tulsi Devi" by His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj. Huh?
I can't. You can't even understand one word of that lecture.
Yeah, it's hard.
He showed it.
Yeah, it's hard to understand, but you can understand some of it. But in that lecture, it's in Seattle, and there is one Prabhu. I don't know his name because it's kind of hard to hear the lecture. But yeah, I forget. And then, but Prabhu, he's a disciple of our Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj tells him to come and speak.
And speak on going back home back to God.
Yeah.
He had a dream that he went back home.
Exactly. He's like, what? And then Guru Maharaj was like, wow, that's a far out dream. He's like, wow, that's a good dream. And then anyway, so in that lecture, Guru Maharaj let him speak because he's
Mahatulsi Bhakta.
yeah, super Tulsi Bhakta. And Guru Maharaj actually asked him because his wife was getting initiated that day, and it already happened before the lecture that same day. And he asked him like, what name should I give your wife? And he was like, can you just like please give her a name for Tulsi or give her Tulsi? And he was like, yeah, Tulsi Devi. And Guru Maharaj said the best name to give someone about Tulsi is Tulsi Devi Dasi. So her name is Tulsi Devi Dasi. And then he was saying in that lecture that you can serve Tulsi and you can also serve Tulsi Devi Dasi. And he said, because he said that you were making that point. So he said, but you serve together like that in spiritual consciousness. So
But like you can hear, I still remember that lecture. I heard it maybe 8 years ago.
You can understand it.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, of course.
he was there for it, right? You were there.
I wasn't there for it.
Oh,
It was 2015. I was still a Mahakarmi.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, no. Actually, I wasn't.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
That's why the spiritual world is known as Goloka.
Look at
Vrinda.
Goloka, yeah. Goloka.
So it's Vrinda. It's Vrinda Vana. So it's the forest of Tulsi.
Yeah.
Spiritual world is the forest of Tulsi.
We experienced that in
Vrindavan.
and what's Prabhu's name? I forget.
Oh, really?
No, I mean like remember his backyard is just full of Tulsi, like everywhere. It's just every single plant is just Tulsi.
Oh, the devotee who's very...
In New Orleans, Baton Rouge. Right here.
Oh,
Sarvatar Prabhu. His whole backyard. He has hundreds of Tulsi
He's the
plants.
man.
His whole backyard.
That's a good example of a nice Vyasa.
He's fired up. He engages his entire family. He engages his entire family in worshiping Tulsi and distributing books.
Yeah.
He engages his entire family in preaching. His whole family is preaching.
Hey, right.
When I heard the verse, I was just thinking, because, we're hearing all the different flowers, they have their, like, transcendental fragrance, and I'm sure I won't say what I'm trying to say properly, but I was thinking, when we go on book distribution, we all have a little bit of some, transcendental fragrance. Someone might be, has the transcendental fragrance of distributing like tons of bhakta stacks, like a machine gun, just bhakta stacks everywhere. Another person might be like Suptic King. Some people might be like dropping some Bhagavatam bombs on people.
Or some Garga Samhita.
But like, but then at the end of the day, like we can all really appreciate the book distribution of Mahotsav Prabhu. Like I'm sorry, please forgive me. But no, really, like when you look at the score from the thing, it's clear there's like just a whole nother level of Krishna's mercy and book distribution going on. So, we've got like such an amazing opportunity to have his association. And what if we were all distributing like close to that amount, by learning from him how he distributes so many books? It's like so many more books would be going out. So it's really ecstatic. So I was just thinking, just like the flowers, they appreciate
That's
Tulsi.
true, yeah. All the flowers are appreciating Tulsi, just like we all appreciate Moses.
That's so stupid. I ate a lot of your
Here's one. I was gonna say, since we're talking about transcendental fragrance, there's one really crazy story actually of Giri Prabhu performing his pastimes of distributing books. When we were all in Colorado Springs, and me and Giri were experiencing a really powerful experience distributing books in the snow. We were anyways, somehow or another we wanted to distribute Bhagavatams, so I basically got one sponsored from like this group I knew from Taliban. He gave me like $400, and then like, anyways, somehow Jiddish had some like mercy. But so we were distributing books in the at the Walmart trying to do these Bhagavatams, and like Jiddish, this is about what he told me. He like as soon as basically he got out the car, as he was walking to the Walmart, before he could walk in, a black man who was just like sort of like nearby while he was walking would just like sort of ask him like, "Did you light some incense, man? Like it smells like incense, man. Like it smells good. Did you light something?" And he was like no, He's like, it smells good, man. Like, what do you got? And he was like, well, I just have this Bhagavatam, And so like basically he like just showed him the Bhagavatam, and he was like into it. He's like, yeah, I know about Krishna, I know. He's like, he knew about a lot of these like Vedic personalities. He's like, yeah, I'm into this. I'm reading like all these like books from the Vedas, and he gave like over $150 or something, I think, like that for the Bhagavatam. So I mean, whoever Tulsi Mahani or who wants to reveal that transcendental fragrance to, that's one of the craziest I've ever heard ever.
That's insane.
It's one of the craziest I've ever heard ever. No, you can't. No,
especially since during the cold, I think like smell is like dimmed down, and like during cold, like
it was straight snowing. Yeah, there's no way he would have smelled incense,
Yeah.
But just see, whenever she wants to reveal that to anyone, even a black man from Colorado Springs can smell that transcendental fragrance.
Wow.
That's really crazy.
That's completely insane.
That's really
It's pretty crazy. It's one of the craziest I've ever heard.
And I just wanted to mention, like, because when we got back from the marathon, also when you hear about how he's distributing books, it's very Krishna conscious. Because he's talking about the things he's thinking about on book distribution. It's like, I'm thinking this about Krishna, I'm thinking this about the devotees, thinking this about distributing books. And then when I hear that, I'm thinking, oh wow, why wasn't I thinking about Krishna conscious things on book distribution? I'm out there getting like distracted by like women in Florida, or like disturbed about this or that. And then it's like, dang. But when there's like other, when there's like strong devotees around that we can like look up to and appreciate, then you get so much encouragement in like all fields of devotional service, and like learn how to do that service better, how to be more Krishna conscious about like, whatever we're doing. So anyway, sorry. Hare Krishna.
Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda.
Anything else? All right. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.